West London Race VR 5.8, that's Series 5, race number 8 as we get into the second half of the series. We're in the UXB Blast course, 7 seconds to go, and they're going to be blasting off, everybody pedalling like mad to get that propulsion off the line, and here we go. Off they go. Let's see if anybody's propelled themselves better than the others. I can see somebody's off the front there. I think it's Frankie Orabona, the Italian, from down in Naples, I believe. I might be wrong. Anyway, he's been caught by the peloton, and he will get swallowed up, and there will be now this attritional race to see who can stay in this peloton at this phenomenal rate. 48 kph, admittedly slightly downhill at 0.3, but it's 44 still, so quite a pace going on here as they sort themselves out in that peloton. Now, as you can see below, it's a reasonably flat course. There are a couple of sort of gradual climbs, if you like, which may enable the guys on the front to put on a bit of pressure and see if they can't drop a few people off the back of this peloton. So I think the name of the game in this race is for the front guys to work out how fast they need to go to start dropping off people from the back to thin that peloton down to a sort of more suitable number from their perspective. Of course, for everybody else, the name of the game is to try and stay on the peloton, and you can see there's a little bit of a break there at this moment. We haven't done a kilometre yet, and there's a little bit of a gap, but I don't think that will last because the peloton is just too large to let that go at the moment. As you can see, it all closing up nicely there now. Again, another little gap here we see right out the front. I don't think that will hold either. It's Aaron Blakely from the NZ Bro. Yarosh, the American rider, chasing him, getting a closer look there of Mr. Yarosh, who must be riding at the middle of the day, I should imagine. I don't know how hot it is in the USA. We're from the UK, as West London Cycling probably tells you. It's been very, very hot here, but today is not as hot as it has been, as Nick Greenhalgh, who lives very close to where we're broadcasting from, is joining the front, what is now 4, I should say. But again, once again, it's closing up. There's nothing really splitting. The speed's now still at 41 kph. That's not quite a break. I mean, there's people out the front. We see Doug Hart. Now, Doug Hart is a strong rider. Doug does this quite often. He's quite a well-known competitor on RGT and is known for his strong riding. I certainly couldn't keep up with him. And he's got Aaron Blakely. Now, the NZ Bro guys, they are tough riders too. So these are sort of names you're going to see at the end of this race, I would imagine, as we come up to the end of the second kilometre. Now, this is still quite a large peloton. They will have dropped people off the back. That's not everybody in it. We still have 63 riders online from a start of 63 riders, slightly down, and I think there's a lot of British riders missing because of the heat. Tim Cummins going off the front, another guy I know who lives locally, having a really good ride. Well done, Tim. Momentarily on the front, but Aaron Blakely closing that one down and taking over the front runnings. Down to 37 kph, although there's a sort of very, very slight incline here. Like I said, there are a couple of gradual inclines, and we're sort of near the top of the first one. So with the speeds they've been going, I should imagine this has caused some damage at the back, but not significant yet, looking at the size of that peloton. Poodle, the German, now up there. Carl Dickerson, I see another NZ Bro rider, and it's all pretty bunched, and I think the rotation's on the front, but Doug Hart doing more than his fair share, as he always does. And a couple of the OTR riders there we see in that distinctive white jersey with black and green, and we get a nice little wave as well, so very kind of them. Peter Austin, one of them, down from Leatherhead in Surrey. I see 2 purple jerseys up there, a couple of Westerly guys. I should imagine that's Tim Cummins and Van Beurs. Who we got here? Schumacher, the American as well, just behind Poodle, and looking down. Miles Askew there in the Moon Riders. Oh, and here he is, the man of the hour, Tom Gates, always on his sit-up bike. Gordon Jackson just falling off the back there. Gordon, a regular in these races. Murray, another OTR rider, is off the back, and this is where you start seeing the damage now that we are down into sort of 30th place, 34th there, and you're starting to see the people who have not made it on there. Harry Smith's there the Dutchman, and another group here with Armshaw, Daniel, the Portuguese, and Leo from Belgium. So and you can see there's quite a gap behind them, so that's a little group, and this is what we expect in these races. You get little groups forming. If you can get in a group, you can have your own private race with your own group. Julian Fussell, a bit surprised to see him back there. He's I know he's been a bit busy lately, we haven't seen him so much. Rafa Nunes, I'm surprised Rafa's actually here. He did the Dunwich Dynamo with us on Saturday night. Anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's approximately a 200-kilometre ride that you start Saturday evening and ride overnight from London out to the coast, and you end up on the beach. David Buckley back there with Martin Oley, who rode in the time trial for West London last night, so he's consecutive nights. He'll be broadcasting this on Twitch as well, and I believe a couple of others are as well. Tom Gates almost certainly will be, and I think I saw somebody else did. Another one of the NZ Bro riders here, 47th place, still 63 in the race as we look at this bunch. Italians, a couple of Portuguese, all making steady progress here. 48 kph is minus 1.5 on this section. They've just done the first of the gradual climbs, so they're descending that. Nothing too steep, of course, as you'll have noticed. Danielle Gaunt with Coco Maisie. Danielle riding for West London ladies team, and Coco Maisie, of course, we all know as Colin Stewart. We'll ignore that one, that's me. So no need to take any particular notice of number 59. Behind there we've got a couple of riders still to come, but we go back to the front of the race, and it's Johanna Olofsson, the South African New Zealand rider, doing a front turn at the moment. Johan known for these as well, like Doug Hart. There's a few of them that like to do this sort of thing. Nick Greenhouse does it as well. Just switching over a little bit there. Doug Hart off the front again as soon as we mention him. Tim Cummins having the race of his life tonight. He's now 5k into, it's a third of the way through the race, and Tim is very much up there with the big guys. So well done, Tim. I see Andrzej Krajewski back there, and Danny Staines from South Africa New Zealand team. Tom Gates on his sit-up bike. You can't miss him, can you? He certainly gets a better view than everybody else, and luckily aerodynamics don't really factor into these things, but I'm sure steering and aerodynamics will come into these at some point. Nick Greenhouse off the front with Aaron Blakely from New Zealand. Will they be able to make this stick? They've carved out quite a decent gap there. That's 20 metres, that's quite a decent gap, but two alone is probably not going to survive 9.5 kilometres. There's some others coming over to join them. We see Doug Hart, Johan Olofsson, and Jarosz, the American rider, bridging that gap a little bit. Now, could this form into a little bit of a group and do something? We'll have to see. There's certainly some sort of gap forming, and I think people in the peloton will be worried. The peloton is big enough to catch these guys, but can they make it stick? If they get half a dozen of them, 6 riders could actually pull away. See Ned Bowen in 5th there, pulling up alongside another American rider from Chicago. But I think what's happening there is people are trying to bridge that gap. It's forming a bit of a chain, and I think it's going to allow effectively the peloton to catch these guys. We'll have to see. There's still a bit of a gap there. We have the 4 off the front, and then the gap. Sorry, 5 off the front, and then the gap. Will that gap be bridged? I mean, it is ragged behind. You can see this is not a concerted effort. There's some of the riders make it over, but there is this sort of chain effect, isn't there, that a few are making it over at the time. Now, if this last rider coming across, and we've got the NZ Bro guy just made it on. There's one other rider in no man's land. I think if that other rider got into the front group, we could have 2 distinct groups. Now, can they do it? I think the peloton's gaining on them a little bit. The gap is, at the moment, it's quite big. I mean, it's 30 metres, but I don't know, maybe it's drawn out a little bit, but the front group's not sticking together perfectly, is it, as they go around this bend? And there's 2 people in no man's land now. The gap back to the peloton still large, though. We're talking good 40 metres, and that is significant. Could this break stick out? Could this be? This would be very unusual. Doug Hart, Tom Williams, Nick Greenhouse. This is an elite group. Roy, but Ned Bowen in there as well. This is an elite group. Make no mistake. Johan Olofsson in there as well. Schumacher catching up, and we have the Dane as well, don't we? Østergaard just behind. I think the peloton is getting getting closer though. It's back down. It's sort of 40 metres again now. It's significant, but it's not growing. Can they work together and get away from the peloton? I doubt they'll really be that coordinated. It's not quite like real life racing, unless you're all, of course, on Discord and you're all in the same team, which I can see they are not all in the same team. And I think the peloton is really closing in now. It's down to about 20 metres. I think it's all over. A little bit of mid-race excitement as we are about to go through the mid-race point, and I think it's all going to come back together again. So as you were, I've no doubt that in all of that and the chase, some people got dropped off the back of that peloton, but great entertainment. Nice to see James Melville still in there, Carl Dickerson, I see Casper Pedersen from ECKD, the Danish team, all in there, and the Danes in that red strip with the white band across. James Melville there in the GCN kit for Glasgow United. 2 green and white shirts, one for OTR, which we're looking at the moment, and the other one just in the bottom right of your, the far right of your screen is the Moonriders one. We did just about see a Racio Racing jersey, but the picture's switched, so we're looking at Nick Greenhouse's helmet. He rides for Racio Racing. He's just slipping back as some other people take up the front running. I think this group will probably need to put on some pressure. As you can see, it's a little bit ragged at the back. People are dropping off the back now. The name of the game for some of the mid-tier riders is you just see how long you can keep on the front group, because they will tow you along for quite a way, and if you can get sort of 3/4 of the way through the race and then do a good time trial, or maybe hook up with 2 or 3 other guys, you can get a very, very good place. So tactically there are mid-race riders who want to hang on to this, but equally the guys at the front want to drop them off. Now when you drop a mid-race rider off, if there's a little clutch of them, some of the big boys could be the wrong side of that, get caught behind the mid-race riders and not necessarily, and then have to work hard, I suppose, to get back on the main bunch. Now a gap's appearing here, as you see. We're letting riders go. 44 kph is the rate that we're seeing them go at. Sorry, getting a bit distracted by the football scores at the moment. It's only a friendly game. Peter Austin there, Danny Stain from the South African New Zealand team. A bit further back, Matt Feely and Andrew Gajewski fallen off the main peloton back there in the 20s. Gordon Jackson the same. Another little bunch here. Now this is typical of what we would like to see. We're a little bit of a bunch. I see Julian Fussell's in there. He's probably better than this, but look at the speed they're doing. 42, that is not to be sneered at. Frankie Urbana, who you'll remember peeled off the front very, very quickly, back in the David Buckley group there, alongside Rafa Nunes, I see, and Harry Smits. So some characters in that one, I can tell you. These are people I actually know, one way or another. Another nice little group here. Martinelli from Italy, Roden and Sutton back there as well. Thomas Nygren and Mike Addy, they're 36, 38. It's a little bit slow for them, I would have thought. A little bit further back than you'd expect to see them normally as we go back into the 40s. This is going to be a great little group. I hope they have a good sprint at the end. This is what we like, where people find their peers. They end up in a group that suits them with similar types of riders, and they will have a good race against each other. Marcin Schluderek, I'm surprised to see him back there with Gilmore. 38, decent speed by anybody's standards, but the standard, oh my goodness, Tom Gates has had a dropout. He's had a technical. One of the stars of the race is out. This is going to cost him dear in the series, and I think this must be a huge disappointment for Tom. He's had his trials and tribulations in this series, but this looks awful for him. As we see Daniel Gaunt and Coco Maisie alongside of me, and it's behind them a couple of guys from I think it's Puerto Rico, that flag. I might be wrong, no doubt. I'll get some mail if I'm wrong. And Jessica Wright at the back there, and Martinoli's bot. He's 3 minutes, so that's just his bot, so you can ignore that one. If we go back to the front of the race, Mark Rowbottom is on the front with it's that man Doug Hart again, Tom Williams, Casper Pedersen, Carl Dickerson, Roy, Ned Bowen. These are all the names you'd expect to see. Aaron Bleakley, Nick Greenhalgh. these are the top names in the series. Tim Cummins off the front again. He's having a great ride tonight. Well done, Tim. Lovely guy. I know him. He doesn't live very far from me. Absolutely thrilled to bits for you. This is fantastic racing, Tim. Well done. And he's up with the big boys. And look at this. It is the elite guys putting on the pressure. 42 kph now as they go on a slight 0.4 descent. This is nothing in this race is too big, except for, I have to tell you, the last little bit. There's a ramp right at the end, so the last sort of 20-30 metres of the sprint will be up a short ramp. Just a reminder, the next race is an individual time trial on 3rd of July, so make sure you don't miss that one. The individual time trial can shake things up a bit because the draft effect on these RGT races is immense, and if you get into these groups, you can get towed along at very fast speeds by using the draft if you're good enough to make sure you don't get dropped off at any point. But the individual time trial, we switch the draft effect off, so everybody leaves on 5-second intervals, so you can sit behind somebody on their wheel, but you'll get no draft benefit whatsoever because it's all switched off. So we can, unlike a real time trial where you'd leave 30 seconds or maybe a minute, so that people don't bunch up. It doesn't really matter in these Wahoo RGT races in an individual time trial if people do bunch up, simply because of course they're getting no benefit, whereas in real life you couldn't stop that. And Greenhalgh and Rowbottom, the two Ratio riders alongside each other. If that were real life, I'm sure they'd be chatting, but I suspect they might be chatting on Discord anyway. I think the Ratio guys do talk to each other during a race. This is thinning out now. We've only probably got sort of 12 to 15 riders in this group, 2.96 kilometres to go. And it has thinned out a lot. The winner is going to come from this bunch, there's no doubt about that, and it's just a case of which one, who is going to pull away and take this one. Roy, Rowbottom, Oostergaard, Poniatowski. I haven't mentioned him actually for Moon Riders. He's up there. Two Moon Riders in there. Ned Bowen, I think, is in the red. The two Glasgow United guys in the GCN kit there. NZ Pro have 3 riders in there. So this is the top teams pulling their weight a little bit here. And Stevie Cooper, I think, is the other Glasgow United rider. One of the ECKD riders, that's Oostergaard, as we I think previously mentioned. This is getting strung out. Somebody is going for it up the front. This is 2.4 kilometres to go. People pulling on the pressure. This could thin the group a little bit more. Looking like who's up the front now? I think that might be well, it's Mark Rowbottom at the moment, and it's Tim Cummins just behind him. But I think it was Tim before him. I see who else is in there. Ratio. 2 Ratio riders or one? I'm trying to think. It's Nick Greenhalgh is definitely in there, so that's 1 Ratio rider. And it's Mark Rowbottom on the front. So there's 2 Ratio riders, and Tim Cummins going for it again. Absolutely phenomenal, Tim. Doug Hart sitting off the back there a little bit at the moment. Do you think he's biding his time? Doug Hart usually likes to go on the front. That's Ned Bowen in the red there, and Miles Askew in there as well, the man from Barnet. Miles, that's it. Miles is twitching this. He's streaming it on Twitch. He was the other person I remember. Doug Hart there on the outside in that yellow jersey, pushing up a little bit. Tim Cummins dropping back off the front. Ned Bowen giving a little bit of a push out the front, but he's only catching up the leaders. And we have Aaron Bleakley off the front. Aaron Bleakley, the first one to go for it. 1.5 kilometres to go. Things are hotting up. Now they've got this ramp at the end, so if you are not fancying going up the ramp and beating everybody else, you might want a little bit of a gap. Maybe that's what Aaron's thinking. People do examine the course before the race, so he may well be aware of this little ramp. And if you look in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, the green profile there goes a little bit yellow just before the end, so you can see how it goes up. It's very short, but it's enough, I think, to make the difference between 2 riders neck and neck. The stronger one will pull away on that. Johan Olofsson chasing up. Nick Greenhalgh in there. Tom Williams, Mark Rowbottom are all there. But look at that little gap appearing now. The front 2, Olofsson and Bleakley, have got clear distance with under 1 kilometre to go. This could be a break that wins it. Is it enough? Is it enough for Aaron Bleakley from the NZ Pro to take the honours here? 700 metres. I don't think the peloton are going to stand for this. He's got Doug Hart behind him now. Doug Hart is pulling away. Doug Hart is absolutely absolutely powering up now towards Aaron Blakely. Putting out some superb. Oh my goodness, look at him go past Blakely. This is phenomenal. 500 metres to go. Doug Hart is absolutely smashing it, putting out an immense amount of watts now. Tim Cummins is in second, as obviously Blakely's fallen off a little bit. Well, something's gone wrong because I can't see him in the rankings there. Doug Hart is absolutely powering away. 200 metres to go. I don't think anything's going to stop him now. It's Doug Hart all the way. This is a solo win. I mean, he's now 50 metres ahead of Miles Askew, James Melville, Tom Williams, Nick Greenhalgh, everybody. That's 50 metres pulled out in next to nothing. He's putting out 7 watts per kilo. That is quite big and probably requires an e-buyer passport. Doug Hart winning there, and you can see coming in second Miles Askew, Tom Williams third, Ned Bowen fourth, Roy fifth, Usgaard sixth, Earl Ossie 7, Mark Rowbottom 8th, Nick Greenhalgh 9th, Tim Cummins 10th. I think that's his best ever finish. Well done, Tim. Mike Hyde in look at all the results. Mike Hyde, Melville 13th, all the way back there. Looking back at some of the other people coming in now in their own little personal battles. Pete Austin pushing for it now, with an OTR teammate just behind him. And is Pete going to do this or not? He's got Prudel behind him, and it's Prudel or Austin. It's Austin at the moment as these two teammates going to battle this one. It's Austin just in front, 100 metres to go. Peter Austin just goes around that final little twist. What will happen next? I think Prudel's going to rank it up. No, it's Peter Austin who takes 19th place ahead of 20th, and Sneaver, the Dane, coming in next ahead of Ivan van Beurs from the Netherlands, trader. We're looking at one of the Armorshaw, one of the other NZ Pro. NZ Pro have more than one team, of course, so they have some absolutely smashing riders up the front, but they do have some normal people like the rest of us who enjoy the race mid-race. So watch Armorshaw coming back with 70 metres to go, just around those final little twists, and a nice little finish at the end to complete that in 22 minutes. Well done. And another little tussle there. Julian Fussell coming in for Southby District Wheelers, our old friends. Andrzej Krajewski just finishing off there. Matt Feely, Leo, Danny Stein from New Zealand. Now this looks a good little bunch to see. He's got David Buckley in this bunch. Now Buckley's got a phenomenal sprint on him. I see Rafa Nunes. Well done, Rafa. I mean, we rode a 200 kilometre night ride, and Rafa's going off the front at the moment. No, he's not. It's Franco Obama who actually rode. I rode with him. Oh, Rafa just losing out. I think those legs from Saturday just doing it. Frankie winning that little punch sprint for Italy. Martinelli, the other Italian from North Italy up near the Swiss border, now coming home in 41st. He rode for us last night as well, so obviously a little bit leggy, I think, at 28k. I know Nicola can ride faster than that, so I think there's something not 100% right in this instance, because he is a faster rider than that. I know, because I've ridden with him. So a few more to come in. That's 41. We've got I don't know how many finishes we're going to get. I think Tom Gates is the interesting one, whether Tom completes the race just to pick up some points, or whether he's absolutely out of it because of whatever technical he suffered from. And Mosey from France, La France, should be indoors watching the highlights of the Tour de France, or maybe you watched it during the day anyway. Up in the Pyrenees today, and after this I shall go and watch the highlights. Let's see this one. Mike Adey back there, one of our regular riders. Mike giving it a bit of a push there. Is he going to get this one? Oh, he's just flipped it, hasn't he? Desco and Tom Nygren, another one of the famous names on here. Marcin Szuderek from Poland is the next one in. He's usually a little bit faster than this. 35 kph though is when you're riding solo, it's quite respectable to do these sorts of speeds, and you'll notice that it's something like a 5 or 6 kilometre per hour difference between these guys in the mid-pack riding solo and people in the peloton. And remember that in the peloton there's a few riders off the front, of course, who might be very, very strong, but the other side of that is that most of them don't stay on the front for very long, so that superior speed of around 40 kph is the peloton effect. If you're doing 35, 36, 37 on here, that's probably about the average for what we call the normal guys. So a little bit of a battle between the Portuguese here. I'm looking back at 54th and 53rd places here. There looks a bit of a gap. They've got 200 metres to go. Is there going to be a tussle, or are they just going to roll into the line? Not racing. Actually, the gap is closing, isn't it? It's. I think there's going to be a little bit of a sprint here. 180 metres to go, and they're together now. Are they going to fight each other? There's only 17 kph, so they're not riding particularly fast, and it may just be a couple of friends who are going to cycle home together, because it doesn't look to me as if it's a race at this moment. They're not particularly pushing it at the speed they're going, and in fact one's pulled up, so I'm not sure what happened there. And Pariva, oh no, it's a trick. There's going to be a sprint finish of type. Oh, look at that! Stopped and started again, and takes the win. Another Portuguese, Silva, coming in now at 27 kph. It does make you wonder what the two in front, what was happening there, because they were going very, very slow, yet ahead of Silva, who's a regular rider and we know rides in the 30s normally, coming over the line at 32. So they must have slowed down for some reason. Coco Maisie now is ahead of Danielle Gaunt, who is going to be the first lady home. I think there's a lack of ladies in here. Jessica Wright in 61st, and that's probably a lot. So 100 points for Danielle Gaunt. She'll be very, very pleased with that when she finds out that she's the first lady home. As I say, I know Ellen Lockett is a little bit ill tonight and couldn't make it, and I had some apologies from some of the other ladies, but Lisa West I know is away, and so therefore a little bit depleted, but well done Danielle. That doesn't diminish your achievement at all. And Danielle Gaunt coming in there right on time and on cue. Fantastic finish, Danielle. We'll wrap it up there. Another fantastic race. Well done, Doug Hart. Phenomenal effort at the end. We look forward to seeing you at the individual time trial in 2 weeks' time, 3rd of July, 7:30, Wahoo RGT. It can only be West London Cycling VR Racing. See you soon.